Black Ops 6 was the most well-received modern Call of Duty at launch, but has quickly become one of the most hated, while Vanguard was immediately despised. Black Ops 6's falloff in popularity happened for many reasons, but the main one is the malpractice of the developers not caring to update and fix their game for 3 months. And this has me asking, is Vanguard better than Black Ops 6 in 2025? With the amount of bugs and glitches that have been plaguing Black Ops 6 since launch, the answer is possibly yes. This question got me to boot up Call of Duty Vanguard in 2025, which is something I never thought I'd do unless it was explicitly for a video. And at first, it wasn't, until I started noticing that I was actually having fun playing Vanguard's multiplayer, which is something that happens seldomly in Black Ops 6's current state. Many of you will be skeptical because the Call of Duty community has always been known for having rose-tinted glasses, where the old games are always better than the new ones. Whatever the current game is, will always be worse than the previous games. But I don't think that applies to the newer titles because Call of Duty has had a major shift in the franchise once MW 2019 came out. Activision had a complete shift in their philosophy of what a Call of Duty game should be, and they have the final say in what the developers are allowed to make and how much time they have to make it. With this shift from Activision, the game started having less content at launch, more glitches and bugs, way more updates to try and fix the broken games, and all of this led to having unfinished products being released every year. And just when most of the issues would be fixed and there would be a good amount of content in the game, it was time for the yearly release to come out with little content and lots of bugs. There are multiple reasons I think Vanguard's multiplayer is better right now than Black Ops 6's. When I play Vanguard, it has way fewer players online, and I somehow have way better connection consistently, which makes no sense because fewer players means that the lobbies will be more spread out across servers in order to find matches, but I have better ping and less packet burst. This helps avoid having frustrating experiences where you can't even enjoy the game because you're jittering back and forth from lag. With a franchise worth over $1 billion, having bad servers and connection in a newly released game should never be a consistent issue, but it is with Call of Duty every year. If you guys enjoy these types of videos, please hit that like button to let me know. And I've always understood the hate for Vanguard's campaign and zombies, but the multiplayer had the most original content of any Call of Duty from MW 2019 to Black Ops 6, which always made it strange to me how it was hated so quickly. It had 16 maps at launch, with 13 of them being brand new. It had Modern Warfare 2019 movement that people loved, and even created different paced playlists instead of only having a slow campfest game like MW 2019, or only having a fast-paced game with only small maps like Black Ops 6. And don't get me wrong, I didn't like Vanguard's multiplayer after the first month, when they added the incendiary grenades and had Shipment 24/7 and DOS House 24/7 as the main maps people played to grind camos and level up weapons instead of just playing the game to enjoy it. And that's a huge problem for all modern Call of Duty games every single year. No one plays them to enjoy them. And the developers encourage this by bringing back Shipment or Nuketown every year so they can have 24/7 playlists of sweat year-round. A lot of the community doesn't even play the regular playlist to experience the game, and they make their opinions solely based off of how Shipment plays in the game. It's just such a dumb system. This is why people don't respect players with mastery camos anymore and just called them no-life sweaty losers. It used to be looked at as something cool and that players were envious of because you actually had to play the game to get it. So what once was admired is now looked down upon. Black Ops 6 isn't fun. I shouldn't say that because it's the experience that isn't fun, and that's because Treyarch and Activision have shown zero care to fix any of the problems for months. The game at its core is fun, but that's hard for people to see and experience because of the lack of care. The only thing Activision seems to care about is constantly pushing out bundles and new events that the player base has to pay for. It's about the money, not the player. And it just pushes people away even when a game like Black Ops 6 has so much potential. Most of you watching aren't subscribed, so just hit that button, it's free and would mean a lot to me. Thanks, Legends. We have seen this trend of drastic player falloff every year, but it's happening a little sooner with each new COD title. Most of the player base won't go back to play Call of Duty games that they thought were awful, like Vanguard. But since I make content talking about every Call of Duty game, I get the pleasure of going back and playing games that even I don't like. But then I started to have fun on games that I didn't think I would. And I started to notice last year when I played every Call of Duty in 2024 that a lot of the modern Call of Duties play way better now, especially Vanguard, which was a little shocking and something I think many of you would realize if you went back and played Vanguard. One of the biggest reasons is that you can just casually play. With fewer players, they can't have skill-based matchmaking turned up to level 1000 because then you'd never find a lobby. I really noticed this when I made a video on the worst iron sights in COD history, and I'm using the Type 11 in Vanguard, as you'll be seeing on screen, and I'm doing perfectly fine without having to really try and figure out what the best class setup for it is. I just threw on some random attachments, went out there with the iron sights, casually played, and had a good time. The games are better because they became casual again. I'm not even good at video games right now, but as you see in this gameplay from a couple days ago, I'm getting attack dogs using random weapons and leaning back in my chair. We're always hearing about how skill-based matchmaking is good for player retention from Activision, but if that's true, then why does every new Call of Duty lose players so fast? Black Ops 6 has blowed over half of its player base in just a couple of months. And all this new matchmaking started with Modern Warfare 2019, and every COD since is selling less copies. MW 2019 sold 41 million copies. Next year was Cold War, where they spent even more money making the game, and it only got 30 million copies sold. And what's even more shocking is Black Ops 3 sold 43 million copies back in 2015, and it didn't have this kind of matchmaking, and people weren't that into the advanced movement. But of course, Black Ops 3 is an amazing game, so that helps it out. This is why Call of Duty stopped showing its player count in game, because they have worse player retention. If bad players want protected lobbies where they play against other bad players, there's a thing called ranked play that puts you into bracketed lobbies. This works the other way around too if good players only want to play good players. For modern Call of Duties, the ones from MW 2019 and on, the older games can be a little bit better because they're finished products, while the latest one isn't. The older game will have more content, better connections, and lets people play casually. And even though I can only play Team Deathmatch and can't select the pace of the playlist, Vanguard is still more fun than Black Ops 6 is currently. This doesn't change how good or bad Vanguard was in 2021 through 2022, it just shows how Activision never worries about having games ready on release and throws us through the same cycle every year, and that's why the golden age of Call of Duty is long over. During the golden age, we may not have gotten as many updates outside of DLC packs, but the games were made with care and ready on release. Will this broken COD cycle ever change? I don't know, it's hard to tell. Activision hasn't shown any need or want to change it because every year they spend more and more money advertising and making the games while selling less and less copies. But it doesn't matter to them because they have no competition in the FPS space and are still making plenty of money through $20 bundles, $10 battle passes, $30 black cell passes, and now $10 event passes. I get paid for playing this game through YouTube, and I've never even bought a bundle or black cell pass. But somehow, a portion of this community keeps buying this stuff up, which is why Activision isn't changing their business plan even though they know they aren't making as high quality of games as they used to. I wish they'd just let the developers make what they wanted and give them enough time to make it. Sometimes it's about quality, not quantity, but it seems like it's not that way for Activision. And if you want to see me play every Call of Duty in 2024, click here. I know you'll enjoy it. Peace.